Hi guys, sorry it's been such a long time since I've done a video, but I've been really busy and the weather's been terrible, so I haven't been able to get out to the workshop much. But I thought today I'd show you a project that I've been working on off and on for the last couple of years. It's a model stationary steam engine that my grandfather gave me. It was came out of the loft when they were moving house. It had been in the loft of various houses they've lived at for 40 plus years or so. So when I got it, it was very dirty. The engine was seized and took quite a lot of polishing and elbow grease to get it up to this state. But let's have a closer look at it. So looking at the engine first, it's almost completely made out of brass, mostly castings, the cylinder, sole plate and the flywheel. I think most other things are just machined from solid from the looks of things. It's got a slightly unusual design on the crosshead. If you can see there, it's just a sort of round bar as opposed to the normal kind of box section sort of crosshead. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to find any sort of maker's mark or anything on this to identify where it came from. I've been told that the sort of banding on the cylinder here is quite a sort of distinctive style from a company called Stevens Model Dockyard, who were sort of doing things around 1900-ish. I'm not sure when they started and finished, but apparently it looks quite like their work. The only other marking I've been able to find is this plate on the front, P&S London E, which I've looked all over the internet and asked lots of people and haven't been able to find any reference to anywhere. So I'm guessing it's kind of a homemade something. The only thing that's been able to sort of use that for dating is originally London was just one large area. Then they split it into north, south, east and west. And then after that they managed to, they split it into sort of E1, E2, things like that. So I know that London E was split in 1917. I'm not sure what point it was sort of split from London to being north, south, east and west. So it's pre-1917, at least that plate is. And from people I've spoken to at shows and things, they seem to reckon that sort of turn of the century is about right for it. So let's take a look from the top view here. So you can see it's got a very smooth motion there. A couple of little bits of work that I still need to do for it. If I just move the flywheel there, you can hear it as well. There's a fair bit of play in the big end of the conrod, so my plan is to make a little sort of bearing shell to go inside of there to take up that slack. Also another thing, I'm not sure if it'll show up on camera, so with my hand shaking, there's a slight wobble on the flywheel. Yeah, I think you can see it there. So I'm going to have to take some adjustment to get the crank straightened out there. So work that I've done on the engine so far, when I got it obviously it was very gunged up and things, so I sort of sanded back all the paintwork to get a nice flat surface. I polished everything with the little sort of polishing wheels on a Dremel with a block of polishing wax, and that took more sort of polishing wheels than I can count and far longer than I'd like to think about, but it came up really nicely. It's that was polished up sort of a couple of years ago now, so it's not looking quite as pristine as it was when I first did it, but it's still looking fairly good. So then I sort of tried my best to colour match to the original paint. Ended up with sort of 3 pots of different Humbrol enamel to find sort of mix together to make a good colour match for it, and that came on very nicely. In terms of mechanical things, I've sort of cleaned up everything to get it working freely and sort of worked the engine loose because it was very stiff, so sort of a lot of oil and gently working it free. I've repacked the glands for the cylinder. There was a weak joint where the steam pipe comes into the steam chest there, so I had to have that resoldered. I believe it was just soft soldered to start with, and that's why it worked. So it cracked and came off, but that's been silver soldered now, so it's a lot stronger. I believe that's about it for the engine. The flywheel looks excessively large for the style of engine, so I'm believing that even if it was sort of done from a sort of a castings kit, that they may not have all come from the same set, because it does look slightly large for the size of engine, or possibly it was put on as a later addition to sort of drive a heavier load or something, I'm not sure. But onto the boiler. Let's turn this round. So this boiler is also made of brass. Unfortunately, it's got several leaks in it all around, sort of in the seams and things. So due to its age and sort of the way that brass gets quite sort of brittle with age and heat cycling, I've decided to retire this boiler for now and just have it sort of polished and looking nice for display only. I could sort of try to chase the seams around. They're only soft soldered, but I've been told that this is also around the sort of turn of the century, and I don't really want to risk damaging it and breaking it, so I think it's best to leave it as is. And I'm in the process of making a new replacement boiler to go with this set, to at least so I can see the engine running. So when I originally got it, the firebox, looking things over, the firebox looked like it was the top of an aerosol can that had been soldered onto the bottom. Obviously I think that was a later addition, because the aerosol can didn't come out till the 60s or something, so that must have been a later addition. But when I got it, it was completely rusted through, so I just made a new one here out of just steel plate, and rolled round, cut a hole for the firebox and air holes around the side, and a couple of bolts to clamp the boiler in place. So you can see here we've got the low level and high level cocks on the side of the boiler. Here is the throttle with the pipe going to the engine, and this is the safety valve, which is just a very sort of simple design here. So you've got the bolt there to adjust the tension on the spring, and then when it reaches a certain pressure, releases the pressure there by pushing up that there. Then that sits on there to make a seal when it's below the threshold pressure. So let's put that back in there. It's a single flue boiler, so that pipe just goes straight down to the firebox, and there are no other flues in there. So it's been a very nice little project to work on. Obviously I'll be looking forward to getting the replacement boiler up and running, so that I can actually get this engine running for a prolonged period of time. When I first got it, I did try the original boiler, and I managed to get sort of enough for about a 15-second or so pathetic sort of run of the engine, but it certainly wasn't enough to use it from now on. So look out for a video for the replacement boiler coming up soon, and I hope you enjoy this one. If you have any comments or any sort of ideas about this engine, or if you've got any idea who made it, or who, what castings it was made by, then drop me a line. If you liked it, then subscribe, like, and see you again soon. Cheers, bye.